I have gone away with the fairies, darlings. I thought that I would have a chat with you because I need to unruffle my feathers, darlings. I feel like I've been henpecked on a Sunday after dinner. You know what I mean? Oh my God, it's been one of those days, my darlings. And so rather than sit here and cobble myself into a corner and not know what to do with my energy, I decided, I should rather talk to my friends. Isn't that something that we should do? So therefore, if you don't want to be miserable, and you know how misery loves company loves, I thought that I would share with you what's been going on. I mean, let me put my feet up, shall we? So I thought that I would share with you. Welcome, my darlings, to the broadcast. I am your favorite mermaid mystic and medium, and today's video is going to be all about I've gone away with the fairies, okay? So it began this morning. Now, I know that there's some sort of things happening in the universe, right? And I kept thinking, oh my God, what is going on? And so I, texted Jeffrey Sean and I'm saying, I'm having a bit of a go today. I'm not doing very well psychologically. I'm not faring well at all. And I've had all I can take. And I'm sure that many of you are this way as well. That just some days it hits you more so than others. And so I thought I'm going to ramble on and let's just have a little prattle, shall we? Oh my God. Yes, so I was attempting to do a particular video, and the more that I tried to work on it, the more that I tried to get the camera to work, the more that I tried to get the volume correct. This is the third camera and it's really expensive. It cost quite a bit of money and I'm still having issues with the audio. And I just thought, how many accoutrements do I need for this particular camera? The point was to have an easy access and be able to do the filming for my videos for the cottage, the thatching and the stone work and all of that, because I want to add that in as well. That I don't need 50 things that looks like an octopus, trying to get all of these things in order so that everything is so lovely. And I must confess that I think it's so brilliant how these creators, what do you call them, like digital creators, can do all of these bits and bobs and have all of these editing, and they can do all of these fun things, and they've got the beautiful photography, and then they've got the lovely music, and they've got the this and I've just been using a telephone, my cell phone, and that's it. And I've just, when you start to get into something and it's new for you, whether that's, you're on a new specific diet or move to a new village and you've got to get used to, where is the pharmacy? Where is the market? Where is the dentist? Where is, and I should be really, really a professional at this by this time in my life, but I've just been going not into nothing, And so I was trying to work doing the video today in the cottage, and then I've got things strewn out in here, which is my sewing area. Then I've got strewn things out in the sleeping quarters. I've got them everywhere, and I just was, my books, some are packed, some I couldn't find. I needed to find references for a particular thing, and I just said, I'm done with this. You know what I mean? Do you ever get to that point where you're like, throw it all in the rubbish bin and I'm done with it today? So I really, really got really upset. So I thought, you know what? I need some retail therapy, which just meant merely me going to the Walmart, the local Walmart. And so then I pull into the car park and I just cry my eyes out. And I have no mascara on, no makeup. I cried all of my makeup off. And I just said, I'm just so tired of I'm just weary of not having my all of my knittings, like my great grandmother used to say, in an order, not having my own kitchen, my own, cupboards, and decorating the way that I want to. And I'm not trying to sound ungrateful, but I do think that it does, misery loves company, and it's coming across that way. But you know what? Everyone has days like that. And I thought, when someone doesn't share their thoughts, not like I'm trying to be negative Nancy or anything, but if you feel as though no one else experiences difficulties in their lives, you feel very much alone, right? So is this sort of the enemy effect, that you feel left out and, no one understands things like me? I'm being a sourpuss right now, but so I was just tired of the not having my own. Now understandably, we have the beautiful little the cracker cottage that was given to me, that I manifested in a trust. But dear little sweet Bob is still alive, and so it's like, do we move to an apartment, put everything in storage, and spend all of that extra money, or do we stay here and continually save money, so that when we move to our house, we'll be able to do quite lovely things, with the landscaping and the garden. And there's a lot of pricey bits that I want to purchase, because I'm going to completely demolish the inside and redo it so that it looks like 19th century cracker cottage. And that will require bit of quid. And so it's a conundrum, it's a skettle of fish, let me tell you. So anyway, after I just was crying to Sawyer, because I always tend to do that, I said, Sawyer, please help me to feel better, and let me to be kind and loving and grateful. And it's so funny and bizarre, because I thought, when you're getting to a manifestation that is about to unfold, they always say that it absolutely becomes quite ridiculous with the amount of all hell breaks loose, and it becomes absolutely mayhem. And I try to remember that every single time, but I'm only human, darling. I'm a mermaid, but I'm only human in human form right now. So I actually forget sometimes when a manifestation is about to reveal itself. The sequence of events can be quite a bit discouraging. And this is what causes people oftentimes not to manifest their desires, because they sort of forget about this little sequence of events. And this is the bridge of incidents is what it's called. And so I rang Jeffrey Sean and said, I'm feeling down and out, and I'm not feeling very good about things right now. And he's like, just remember, this is when your manifestations are coming, darlings. You're the one that's taught me that. And you need to be grateful and be, just continue on. You'll be happy. Just, organize your spaces and do the best that you can for today. And it's all right if you don't feel so great. Just, take a lie down, have a lie down or something. And anyway, so I gathered myself up, reapplied my mascara in my lipstick, and then I went into the store, and I lost count after 11 people stopped me in the store, and they said, oh, I've seen you on YouTube. I've seen you on YouTube. And I'm like, really? And they're like, yeah, I recognize you. And that was 2 people. Someone else thought I was in movies. Another person, which was a really young lad, stopped me in the Pioneer Woman aisle. I was looking at teapots. And he talked to me for, a brief moment and said, can I take my picture with you because you look so amazing and wonderful. Anyway, I lost count after 11 people. This one lady came up to me and she was like, can I touch you? And I was like, sure, that's fine. I don't know why she wanted to touch me, but anyway, I think that was not to be boastful or anything, but I do believe that was the universe saying, just hold tight, my darling, hold tight. Things are going to change and things are going to move round about. And if you just remember that the wheel of fortune always turns, so just be mindful of that. And so I guess basically what I wanted to say to you is that remember that when you're having a bit of a go, because we all have them. Some days it's more catastrophic than others, obviously. I mean, it's nothing comparably to, when my son passed. And those were days that I just couldn't, I went 2 weeks, I think, without brushing my teeth or getting off of the sofa. I was in my, my sleeping gown and robe, and I did not brush my teeth. I barely ate. And so we're doing much better. So just remember, darlings, you might be going through a really, really difficult time, but I just want you to remember that we all go through them. Sometimes it's little things, sometimes it's little waves, and sometimes it's large waves, and it's really, really big tsunami waves. But we can all get through them, especially if we are there for one another and encourage one another. And it makes me a bit dewy-eyed because I really needed to hear those compliments. And I know that sounds kind of superficial, but it wasn't for me, because it reminded me to keep going, that people recognize me, and not that they recognized me, but that I'm trying to do a good work. And it was really comforting to know that you're not alone, Raquel. People are seeing you. You are helping people. You do help people. So just remember, everything is going to be jolly well, But like I said, if I can encourage you and moving forward, keep moving forward. And so often I would always think about the days when I was a swimmer. And we were very, very tired, because when we would train 8 hours a day. And that would be about 6.5 hours in the water. Now, if you understand anything, we swam in the mouth of the river. So it was, hundreds of tons of water every single hour. So, we had to naturally fight the current, because it's about 15 miles an hour, the current beneath the surface in that river. And people would always think that it was an aquarium or something, but it wasn't. It was a real river. And so we would always be admonished, when you're tired, darling, that you just float. Just allow yourself just to rest. And so the resting was just us just not moving, just not doing anything, and allow ourselves to just relax. And we were able to get great sleep, being a mermaid, because when you would swim that much, and I'm sure that if you have little children, you understand that when they swim at the seaside, they usually are very tired at the end of the day, and they do very well with their sleeping regime, right? Because it wears you out, so you're just quite tuckered. And so I always would get really, really good sleep, but I was very, very exhausted, because we would swim up against the current as we were performing, and that was just a part of it. So my resilience is very, very strong. And I thought, okay, so today I thought I'm going to apply my work as a mermaid performer into my life now, that I have built up massive resilience in being able to take on different tasks and different moments in my life that have been difficult. So what seems really, really difficult for someone else might be pretty easy for me. So I have to remember that my days of being a mermaid, because I'm trying to always use the things that I've experienced in my daily life, so that it can help me to get through things. And that's why I always say, I need to meditate. So I have to meditate more than twice. Usually I only meditate 1 time a day. But if things get a little hairy and things get a little side-eyed, or a bit of a sticky situation, right, and things are becoming nonsense on stilts, my darlings, I've got to meditate probably 2-3 times. Sometimes when Sawyer passed, I would meditate 5 times a day because I needed to regulate my nervous system, because I was just completely barely able to breathe in some moments. And so just remember, I know that it can be difficult at times, and thank you for being here too, because it's so nice and lovely to be able to chat with people that we have the same things in common, don't we? And life can be a bit difficult at times, even when it seems like, oh, that's nothing to, to gripe about. But some days are better than others, aren't they? So anyway, yes, so if things are in shambles right now, maybe it's that your manifestation is coming very, very soon, darlings. And it could be that you are being not tested, but that you are expanding and your spirit is trying to catch up with the logistics of being an earthbound person, right? And so we're always trying to get our sea legs, aren't we? Mermaids trying to get our sea legs. So I hope that you have a lovely day, and I just wanted to pop in and say hello to you and just encourage you a bit, and also just sort of, prattle about what's been going on. But tomorrow I'm going to film working on the cottage, and I will be applying the stone, the flagstone, and doing a bit of work in the garden. So that's exciting, and I'm very thrilled about doing that. And so I'll have that video up, as well as a couple of things that I think, if you like the essence of sort of like a fisherman's cottage, and you like mermaid-esque things, but they're more vintage and Victorian and not so tchotchke-ish, I have a couple of things that will be lovely for you, and I'll leave the links and things like that. So they're not sponsors or anything, but they're just things that I love, things that I find beautiful and, time-worn and beautiful in English, as well as timeless beauty, for your little cottage, if you're going to have a bit of mermaid-esque in there, So, all right, darlings, I hope that you have a lovely night. And as always, I'm most affably yours until my next swim. Cheers, darlings. Toodle pip.